goes live.
Yeah, it says the stream is live.
Good evening and welcome to the Ref's Opinion, your weekly look at the biggest refereeing decisions in the game. And of course, as you're all aware, the World Cup is currently on, probably about midway through. And this is where we give a referee's perspective on the moments that people are talking about. Were the officials right? Did they get it wrong? Etc., etc. And my goodness, is there some big talking points on the show tonight? And if you'd like to make a comment or you'd like to ask a question, you can do so right down there on the bottom hand side of the screen. Where there, comments there, yeah. So if you'd like to make a comment, please do so. You can send in your comments, ask a question, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. I'm delighted to be joined once again, as I regularly am, every Monday night at this time on the Ref's Opinion, by former Premier League referee, former FIFA referee, former World Cup referee, in fact, and the man responsible for introducing goal line technology, which, as you all know, is a huge success. That's where the little beep goes off on the referee's little watch, as it were, and tells the referee whether the ball has crossed the line or not. And my guest, as always, is Keith Hackett. Thanks for joining me, Keith. And Keith is responsible for introducing that goal line technology. Well, Keith, did we ever, even this time last week, did we ever think or really think that refereeing would be to the fore? It all surrounds the sending off of the American player, which was subsequently then, you can only call it one thing, overturned. I know they said it's a suspension, and the suspension will run out in a year's time. Be that as it may, they can call it what they like, but it has given the guy a reprieve. And now we'll discuss other aspects about others who players who've been sent off and didn't get that reprieve. So what's going on? Keith, over to you.
Yeah, I think that when we look way back, certainly when I was an active referee, Sepp Blatter was the man running FIFA. The one thing that I think we can say positively about Blatter is he never let politics interfere with football. He was very strong on that. And, I can remember countries getting banned from FIFA because he'd recognised, or his various people had recognised, that there was political interference or attempt to be politically interfered with in terms of various countries' referees or organisations. So yeah. I think it's very clear on that.
And actually, Keith, sorry to interrupt you there, but going way back to the '66 World Cup, which England won, so Stanley Rouse was president of FIFA at that time, and yes. England didn't want to allow in North Koreans.
Yeah.
Stanley Rouse said to the FA, if you don't let him in, we'll take the championship out of England and somewhere else.
Yeah.
And rightly so. And I think Zimbabwe were also in trouble, and another African country, I can't think of just off the top of my head. Maybe one of you listeners in Africa might be able to remind me of who that other country was. But that's the way it was. But this is absolute, blatant political interference. You can dress it up and call it whatever you like. It's blatant political interference.
I mean, let us just run through it, because there might be one or two people that listening that haven't got the full story. Effectively, following Balogun, the best player, I would suggest, on the American team, was guilty of making a challenge where the boot landed on the calf of his opponent and then raked down the back of the leg. And then the referee saw that in the same way that I supported his call and issued a red card. For me, it was the correct decision. I've heard the conversations about no force, player not injured. And I'd just go and say, please go to the laws of the game and look at serious foul play. And yes, there is the word malice in it, but we can argue that when players are playing, they play within the laws of the game and they have a duty of care to each other. So Balogun, in my opinion, was correctly dismissed. That is an automatic one-match ban.
And Keith, sorry to disturb you there, but I was on South African radio today, and they wanted to know how come their player, who was sent off in the opening match against Argentina, he got a 3-match ban.
Yes.
Why does one get a 1 match for straight red and others get a 3-match?
One assumes that they're looking to previous records, but you're quite right. They've been talking around, and the reason I mentioned 1-match ban, because that is what we're hearing and reading in the media. So for me, I've always recognised that a red card offence in football is in fact a 3-match ban.
Yeah.
So
have FIFA changed FIFA changed the ruling now for the World Cup? There's only 1 match, but yet the first match where there were 3 red cards, the South African guy got 3 matches.
Yeah.
This guy, American guy, can't pronounce his name, got a 1 match.
Yeah, Balogun was effectively told that he was getting a 1-match ban. So
that's inconsistent. Sorry, Keith.
Well, I mean,
people are going to ask me, how come one gets 3 matches and the other gets 1 match?
Well, I can't give you the answer because I'm equally as bemused as our listeners and those that tune into this show.
Yeah,
I'm bemused because in all the competitions that I've been involved in, there's a very clear disciplinary structure that is spelt out, and there is in this World Cup because there must be, because we know that when we get to the true proper rounds, if you like, the last 32, all yellow cards up to that point are then wiped clean, and we start
not red, not red. Yeah.
So there was obviously concern from USA. They thought this wasn't a red card offence. If that is the case, surely within the competition, there is a process that allows the player to appeal that red card. That is only natural and fair. But it appears that, and confirmed this afternoon in an interview with Donald Trump, the President of the United States, who makes comment about it not being a foul, this red card, and the fact that he has spoken to Infantino. Now, in fairness to Infantino's come out and said, "Look, I don't make the decisions. The decisions are made by the disciplinary panel."
It's a cop-out.
So what we have here is we have a player on a red card who should be sitting on his hands the next game, which is against Belgium.
Tonight, yeah.
Belgium have appealed that decision and it's been thrown out. And even UEFA, who are not always renowned for making public statements that show an unease between the relationship of UEFA and FIFA, have also said, that this is not right. And when we look, as I said on the radio today, FIFA are, if you like, the organization that is responsible for the laws of the game. They are members of the IFAB and effectively have a casting vote. If FIFA decide whatever law change needs to take place or whatever law needs to be introduced, they have a very strong influence on that decision-making process. So here is FIFA capitulating, let's be fair, through its disciplinary panel, overturning, but they will say they've not overturned. What they effectively said is that they've deferred the suspension on a probationary basis. This is absolute manipulation to allow this player to play
100%.
in the next game.
100%.
And I think that what has happened for someone like myself who's been involved, I mean, we've both been involved in the game for a long, long time. The integrity of the game has been brought into question here by the governing body of our sport.
Yeah.
And so for me, there'll be many people, many organizations around the world. Many will be sat around that table wherever the games are taking place, having a nice fat lunch and getting on a private jet or a scheduled flight, moving here, there, and everywhere as part of the various committees of FIFA. Many of them do great work, and I'm not underscoring anybody, but it's their integrity that's been put at risk, not mine.
Indeed, and I was reading that the Belgium said they were exploring all possibilities as to what step, the next step they should take. Now, you just said that they put in an appeal and it was thrown out. Now,
Yes.
on what grounds? And also, they're talking about the some opaque rule 27 of
Yes.
some whatever, I don't know. To me, I just get totally frustrated with a sport that I've been involved in since 1970, and you even longer, Keith. And to hear these, what I call soccer politicians, coming up with all kinds of excuses as to why they should deviate from the standard. If a player sent off, he's sent off, period, get on with it. I still can't get my head around, and I'm sure you're also perplexed about
Well,
it.
I think that if you're...
It's 3 matches and this guy 1 match.
Yeah. I mean, when we look in the last 8 to 10 years, in our era, and I think up to the point of me leaving the PGMOL, there was a recognition that laws were changed on an annual basis and had to go through quite a stiff examination, and a stiff examination around the words, the complication of the languages within football and the meaning of certain words and the difficulty that sometimes gave. But what we're seeing now is we're seeing, for example, we saw a player getting sent off for putting his hands over his face.
Yeah.
An instant red card. FIFA announced that prior to the competition, having had a special meeting in Canada to bring forward certain law changes allegedly approved by everyone else. And the point here is that I don't think that was thought through, because it was saying, they suddenly came back when an English player put his hand over his mouth. They said, well, he wasn't making a racist remark. Now, the referee and the player involved are the ones that are expected to deal with this on the field of play.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you prove that? How do you prove that that player's making a racial remark? Now what we hear is the Premier League were very quick. The Premier League said, we're not applying this law. UEFA have come out and said, we're not applying that law. So what we're getting is a fragmentation of law interpretation, which adds to the confusion. That young referee in the local park, is he, he watches television and we're influenced. When we look back at our career, we watched those top class referees in the era before us, and we thought, that's a good idea. I'll do a bit of that. I'll watch what that referee's doing. I like his approach. I can learn from that particular point. But what we've got in this country, we're going to do this, and in another country, we're going to do the other.
And that leads to the inconsistencies that people complain about all the time.
Well, I mean, we've got an experiment running in Canada with Wenger's offside. The general belief that needs to be clarified that if you make contact with the ball, that doesn't negate a serious foul play challenge. And the media at times, no one challenges it because they say, well, he played the ball. It doesn't matter if he put the man in hospital.
Yeah.
That is not the law. And these are the, if you like, the difficulties that young referees face because, thousands and millions watch television and they're all influenced by what people say on television in terms of their view and how the law is interpreted.
Absolutely. Got a comment. By the way, you're watching The Ref's Opinion. We go live every Monday night at 8 p.m. UK Irish time. It's The Ref's Opinion. It's on facebook.com/Hanging Judge Ref. We'll invite you to send in your comments or ask questions. Anything you want to talk about, we'd love to hear from you. See a comment here from Brian Wexler. He's a regular contributor to the show. He said, I watched the tackle. For me, it's a red card, and this decision to let him play is totally unacceptable. Well, that's exactly, Brian, what we were talking about, and you're dead right. It is totally unacceptable. And there's one here from Tommy. Tommy's a regular contributor as well. I just get it up here now. And Tommy Breen, he said, at some point tonight, what was Keith's view of the referee last night for the England versus Mexico game? I thought the ref was good to very good, though he made me laugh. Sprinting 50 yards to speak to a Mexican player. What is Keith's take on him? Great performance from England.
Well, I worried about his appointment because I think in a previous game, this is a very experienced referee, Iranian, that operates in Australia. And you never know what the quality of language and word is spoken and how he converses. But everybody tells me there's not a problem there. I thought, first of all, there was let's run through. I think that I've refereed in Azteca. The pressure is enormous through the fact and slight worry that you're operating at 7,000 feet above sea level. It's very humid. The noise is absolutely intense that you're struggling to make the whistle talk. So that's the first bit. So I thought he jumped in very quickly to caution Declan Rice. I think Rice was going for the ball. And one of the difficulties about the game in that part of the world, and you, Errol, have experienced this, I'm sure, in South Africa, because the ground's there above sea level. What you have is the ball travels a greater distance because there's less oxygen in the air and less resistance. And I think, he's got all that pressure. It's a huge stadium, and he jumped in. I'm not overly criticising him. He cautioned Rice. Rice bordered reckless, but I'll go with. I thought it was a harsh decision. Then we had the actual high boot of Kane and his opponent. And this is a boot which is high, but they're all chasing this bouncing ball. And the first, if you like, the first play of the boot, both high, was the Mexican and Kane coming upwards in an attempt to play the ball, and he awarded a penalty kick. That's subjective. He decided that's a penalty kick. He didn't give the penalty kick. I don't think that was a clear and obvious error for VAR to come in. But immediately VAR is going to look at the screen. He's going to do what he did. So I think in that situation, right. I was worried about the feet off the ground when they were taking throw-ins. And that was particularly the English left back, who on occasions threw the ball and his foot was about a foot off the floor.
Can we just come back to that in a moment, Keith, please? Just a couple of other comments. One from Brandon Will, who's a regular contributor to the show as well.
Brandon.
He said, I would suspect a 3-match ban is for more serious conduct, like violent conduct. Well, I think that was violent conduct by that American player. He could have broken the guy's ankle. I don't know what the South African player's red card was for. And then he goes on to say, just get rid of that one because Brandon has another quick comment here. If I can get it, can't get it. He says, can't post comments to some destinations. I don't know why that is. He then says, as such, this is still Brandon. And let me just get it on the screen. As such, any leniency for suspended/deferred sentence will be less likely for a 3-match ban or violent conduct. Well, to me, it was violent conduct, Brandon, and people can justify it any way they want to. The bottom line and the basics are that it was violent conduct because he could have broken the opposition player's ankle. And nice to see my very good friend here, Declan King. Excellent insight. Thanks, Declan, for that. And one other one, where are we here now? Kane said he thought he got the ball first. Well, no disrespect to Harry Kane or any other player. They'll always try and justify it and say, I thought I got it. And, so always, Harry, no. Violent conduct, Brandon again, and serious foul play are different. Well, yeah, maybe they are, but,
I think that because the ball was in proximity, then I'll put that under the umbrella of serious foul play. So for me, it was serious foul play. I don't know. I thought serious foul play across the world was a minimum 3-match ban, not a 1-match.
And that's what's going on in the Premier League, is it not, Keith?
Yes, it's a 3-match ban.
3-match, yeah.
Sometimes when you have a tournament like the World Cup, I think that because it's a compacted number of games, I think they then make those tolerance levels in relation to the amount of ban. I was expecting the American player to get a 3-match ban, to get a ban. I don't think it's conducive and helpful to USA and the development. When I say the development of the game, there's more. I think a lot of people have this view. America is massive in terms of soccer. I've been close up to it. I've been involved in it, and in fact, I was involved last week because I received a call that advised me that the English Premier League, the PGMOL, was changing its name to ProRef. And I smiled because I had the meetings with a guy called Nelson Rodriguez, who was the MLS at that particular time, and Asher Mendelson, who was US Soccer. We sat around a table and we gave ProRef the name for the American referees. So I don't know how that particular sits, that England has suddenly decided they're going to call themselves ProRef, not PGMOL, and fine. But one of the things that I was always aware of, why the long title for the PGMOL, because it's match officials. And match officials refer to that fourth official, to that VAR, to that assistant referee and all that goes with it. ProRef sticks with just, in a sense, referees. But those are the points. And, you know,
what do you think of the amount of foul throws that are going on? I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Well, I'm
lifting feet, but throwing the ball this way, with one hand, stealing acres and acres of, and not taking it from the correct place. Just my comment: would it be better? Would it not be better giving an indirect free kick instead of the throw-in? Give an indirect free kick from where the ball is crosses the line.
Well, again, you know, FIFA, in fairness, and the IFAB made this very clear that if the referee, once satisfied that the thrower is in possession of the ball, he's got 5 seconds in which to throw it. The referee can count down those 5 seconds, and if he is going to be penalised, the ball is handed to the opposition. In the same way that, you know, when we look at one-handed throws and feet in the air, and even throws where the whole of the ball is not taken behind the head, it's just a bent body and just not even a throw. I think all those things, you know, it's easy for us to sit and be critical because the referee's not applying the specific law. Sometimes I think in big games, the referee's got to pick the big decisions. And I'm not decrying that the laws should be applied and applied very forcibly in those opening stages of the game. But I think they tend to go I'll pick the big ones. In the same way, I think I've seen a lot of fouls going unpunished. And whilst possession is maintained, at that point, I don't see the signal from the referee that he is applying an advantage. I just see the referee continuing. And these are small things that are so important in communicating to the audience and to other players.
Yeah. But on that issue, Keith, and we're talking about a player that was sent off and did get a red card. One player that should have got a red card and was not sent off was Lionel Messi.
Correct.
Because he raked the back of the guy's leg, his calf, and you can see because he even ripped his sock, and that surely is violent conduct as well.
Well, I mean, I was not going to separate that challenge, Messi's, and the American. I think that there's a debate in terms of the intensity of the challenge. But when a player rakes his boot down the back of the calf of a player and the Achilles, that is serious foul play, and he must be sent off. Now, in both cases, one was sent off, Messi wasn't.
So, I mean, there's inconsistency there as well, because they have the use of VAR. So again, and I'm trying to be absolutely fair and objective in all things. Why didn't he go to the VAR and look at it?
I think one of the things that we've seen in this tournament so far, I've made comment. I think the bar for VAR is too high. And I think this is always difficult when you brought the VAR operators together, you've trained them, and you've actually run through video after video after video. You set the bar. And I think that sometimes my expectation, born of what I see in the Premier League, where I think the bar is too low, I then get not confused, but I say, that is not a clear and obvious error. The Kane incident last night is one where you would split the opinion of referees. I've no doubts about that because of the subjectivity. In my opinion, right, the referee on the field of play didn't see that as a foul, didn't penalise it as a penalty kick, but the VAR sat in the room, decided to come in, and once it comes in, we know that the referee automatically is going to take the view of VAR and award a penalty kick. And that's what happened. And, the process is there. The boot was high, and you suddenly go, when I refereed, I wouldn't have penalised that. And to this day, that was my view. Many would argue that after the event now, mind you, there's a lot of English players saying, well, it's a perfectly good penalty, and it was correctly awarded. They weren't saying that at the time.
In a word, Keith, all these changes about the throw-in being given to the other side and 5 seconds for this and corner kicks, and do you think the Premier League will apply them next season?
Well, they'll be written in a book. We could talk a lot about the lack of application of the laws in the Premier League. We do almost every week. Mm-hmm. And I think, what I will say is this, that our two best referees by a mile are operating. Michael Oliver yesterday, Anthony Taylor, a big game tonight. And it's FIFA and Europe that have the confidence in those two guys. And I think they're the benchmark that Howard Webb has to set for the other referees to come up to it. And if they don't meet that challenge of getting somewhere near the level of performances of these guys, then they should be offloaded. It's as simple as that.
Oh, thanks very much, Keith. The time has just gone. There were so many other things we wanted to discuss tonight. But thank you very much, Keith, for joining me. Thank you out there for also joining me. Good show, good discussion, good debate. Thanks for your comments. We'll do it all again next Monday night, same time, same place. Until then, good night and God bless. Thank you, Keith.
Good night.